Hello everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Studio. Today I'm going to be, it's like a part two in the mixed media venture that we went on with Distress Oxide inks and the Gelli Plate. And I will link down below the video for that, where we made a whole bunch of fodder for our for tags or whatever you want to do. We did cardstock, we did paper, we did pages, and we did some cloth. And so I'm going to show you how I work with all of this stuff and give you some hints and tricks and tips on what you can do to apply to your own tag making. But I did want to give you a real quick little peek at the next journal I'm working on, which will be a fall theme. I have this really lovely cloth here that is in all these fall colors, and I have the pages picked out, just have not decorated them all quite yet. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you what all this is going to go into eventually. So I have went ahead and pre-recorded the process, and so please enjoy. To help me isolate what I want my tag to look like, I am going to make a frame. So I made a tag that was about a ½ inch longer and wider than the tags I usually use, and I went in with my X-Acto knife and ruler and just cut a frame out. It doesn't have to be a perfect frame inside at all. You're not going to use it to trace it. Just going to use it to look at my pattern in a more narrow way. Sometimes an overall design like this can be confusing, and this just helps you visually to find the location. And in the end, I decided that I wanted the darker color on the bottom, and I tried to put in a variety of widths of my colors. And I ended up resizing the tag to fit the pocket that I want to anyways. And then I just got some scrap paper from the prints that I'm using to be the focal point for the tag, toward the edges. I have here some fall words on these labels from the Pink Monarch. And I like to work in threes, so for my third layer I'm going to put this burlap down, because burlap just speaks fall to me for some reason. I do wish I had printed the labels out a little smaller, because I ended up covering up my red, but it still worked out. Now I'm going to put reinforcers over the hole, or the place I want to put my hole at. I just got a sheet of reinforcers and inked over them with some ink on my inker, and put in some string to kind of match that burlap, and that one's completed. For the next one, I cut out a piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to glue a portion of the printout onto the tag, and I'm choosing an area that doesn't have any images. It just has writing on it. Kind of gives me a neutral background to work with. I'm going to be using the muslin cloth that I use to stain with the oxides. And I'm going to choose a mushroom that will stand out on the card. And try to decide where I want to place my cloth at. And where to put the cloth. I'm going to do some stitching on the cloth, and I'm going to choose one of these colors. I think any of them probably would have worked. I'm just auditioning the one that strikes me as the best, and I went with the deep maroon shade. Now I'm just going to put in a series of X's. Sorry about that background noise there. I'm not trying to be too precise, just eyeing up the size and area of where the X's go. A series of really small X's would have been really cute too. And I'm just going to put a simple knot in the back because we are going to glue this, so the stitching should hold well. And I'm going to use glitter glue on the back of it. I'm still thinking in my mind, where do I want the cloth to be? And there needs to be something else here, but what is that? So I just decide to put the mushroom in. I add a slant so it doesn't look too perfect. And I don't know if I mentioned it, I'm using glitter glue. I probably did mention that. So the cloth is a little bit longer than what I need, and I've decided to try to start putting more on the back, so I'm wrapping it around towards the back to add interest on that side of the tag. I'd like to do that more often. And this side I'll just cut off and fray. Still need more. And I found it. I'm using these little tiny, well, they're long, but they're skinny, die cuts of florals or natural shapes from Tim Holtz. And cutting it off as if it were behind the cloth. Would have been nice to have known this before, but it's okay, it still works. A little bit of that mushroom didn't get glued down, so I was able to put a twig behind it and put on my reinforcer and punch in the hole. And for the tie, I end up using a cloth that had some print on it, some Tim Holtz cloth. Now the third tag, I'm using the printed page, and I put it on a cardstock tag, and then I stamped a leaf onto some tracing paper, and I used archival ink. I used a permanent ink for this. I just think it stands out a little bit better and does better on tracing paper. And I just cut the piece down. I kind of like the way that it looks kind of frosty. And I'm going to look for something to put on the side, and I ended up with burlap again. I thought the cloth was too blendy. And I'm going to glue the layers down. I'm going to put a very tiny bead of glue all along the edge of the tracing paper. And tracing paper will crinkle, so you have to be careful. I think the glitter glue dries fast, and it doesn't make the paper crinkle too much. And then I'm going to put some straight stitch down the side. And after the little crooked stitch I made there, I decided it was better maybe to start punching a hole so that when I go to the back I know where to put the next stitch at. So before I turn it over, I come up and punch a hole at the next place, and it just kind of helped me make them a little bit more even. Not that perfection was the goal, it just helped them to be a little bit more straight. And I just put a simple knot in the back, and then I'm going to take a little dot of glue on each knot so that it'll stay. Now I'm looking for a label to kind of fill in the right side of the tag there, and I want one that doesn't distract from the leaf too much. And so I ended up with this one. So here are our three tags. We used the paper, the background paper from the pages, and as you can see there's some on the back. I didn't care for this one, so I made a new one on the opposite side, and I liked it better. But I'm going to leave this because you can write over that. And this one here is using the cloth, the wafer cloth that we used. I think I added a few of these little sprigs since you saw it last. And then on this one, we used the printed page from the book and used that as our background. So here we go. Thank you so much for viewing. I am working on a fall journal, so I'll probably be back with more of that in the next episode or two. And you have a great and crafty day. Bye.